Hi, and welcome to Dare to Be Different. My name is Steve McAllister, and today our guest is Shannon Fortner. Shannon is the lead singer for MeteorEYES, and she is also the founder and president of the Harvey Milk Festival here in Sarasota. Shannon, thank you for coming today.
Oh, thank you for having me on your show.
You're very welcome. And like I said, I work with Modern Hippie Mag, and we have a show that we do there called You Speak, where we ask people 4 questions about themselves. So before we get into Harvey Milk and your music career, I want to ask a little bit more about you, because I know that you're a Renaissance woman. So you do a lot of different things.
Indeed.
And so I want to ask you first, what do you love about your life?
I love the fact that I have a very supportive community and group of friends around me, and that I found the love of my life, be it she be an ocean apart from me. I love performing out and seeing people be inspired and come back to me at shows and tell me that they started their own project or have been recording or writing or picked up their guitar or just something like that. Just seeing other people be inspired from other people, I think, is my most warm felt connection to the community in Sarasota.
Very nice.
So.
Good answer. Okay, the second one's a little harder because it has to do with the mind, and it's a little broad. But what do you understand about the world?
The world is what we make it. We create our own perception, and we also reflect through others that we encounter as far as being able to see ourselves. We can reflect by reacting to other people and being able to see who we really are from how they react or how other people understand us. Mm-hmm. So
the world is kind of a mirror of ourselves.
It is. Basically, the mirror is basically just a reflection of, yeah.
Very nice. Okay, and what change do you most want to see in the world, and what are you doing to make that happen?
Well, it'd be great if everyone had the same rights and everyone was actually considered equal instead of being semi-equal or rights being able to be voted on. I started, I'm an activist. I started the Equal Civil Rights in 2009 after going to the Equality March in D.C. Cleve Jones said, go home, raise awareness, inform your community, and inspire others to do the same. So I went home a month later after the march in D.C. and started the Equal Civil Rights Rally. And we had about 300 people. I went and spoke to GSA groups at New College in Ringling, and a bunch of people came out and were very supportive, and we marched through downtown. Eco Fest was going on. They kind of come out of their tents and clapped, and it was amazing. It really was a really nice feeling. So really, I guess just seeing everyone have the same rights and not being forced apart from the people that you love. So
right.
Really
Cool.
Also less, I guess maybe the government actually playing their roles that they're supposed to play, I think would be a better notion for all of this. And
right.
Yeah.
Well, I know that, as far as the LGBT community, a lot of the people you get who are against civil rights for homosexuals and for transsexuals and all that are from the religious community. But I'm wondering, how do you define and connect with divinity in your own life? Do you have a spiritual sense about you? Do you understand something like that?
I'm classic. I'm pretty much a pagan at heart.
Uh-huh.
I was raised Baptist when I was a little girl. I grew up in Kentucky, and I had I was in the big people's church instead of where I was supposed to be, and there was a sermon about homosexuality and how it just, you will burn in hell and all this stuff. So as a child early off, I was pretty like, whoa, I don't know where I am or where I belong, but I know it's not here. So
right.
And very shortly after, I just kind of figured it out on my own. So.
Okay. So what drew you to paganism?
The simplicity, the community, the just less judgment, just more just living off the land and just basics. Mm-hmm. It's just very natural, and you wouldn't even be able to be like, this is pagan. You would just be doing what you were doing and be like, oh. I also like the reclaiming tradition as well.
Reclaiming tradition, is that?
It's a Wiccan tradition that is basically not set to as far as like a standard. It's kind of more improv. So.
Right. Yeah, when I was in California, I'd gotten out there to Santa Cruz, and I met a couple. It was a lesbian couple, and one of them was a pagan, and one of them was a Taoist, and she was a Unitarian minister.
Oh, okay.
But they were like the nicest people I've ever met.
Oh.
They were the most conscientious parents, and it's, I came from a Baptist church as well, and we were brought up with this pagan means, people against goodness and normalcy kind of thing, and it's totally not the case. It's so not what most people think of it, the way it's delivered in a lot of people's minds, but really is that just understanding that, there are natural laws, and as much as we might want to escape them or put them aside or put down our nature, the more we can flow with that, honor that, respect that, and realize that we come out of the earth instead of being apart from it. And I think we're going to be better off, especially facing some of the challenges we're facing today.
Yes, I agree.
Now, I wanted to ask you about your band MeteorEYES. I've seen you guys play once, and it was only for a partial set, but you guys are a lot of fun. And when did you start playing music, and how did you get involved with it, and what does it do for you today?
Well, I started playing, my first band that I put together was called Spontaneous Habit, and it was a trip-hop acid jazz band. We played at Alley Cat, Good Times, a couple of places all over Tampa, and we played house gigs, Esca we played, Jack's, and we always had like a set every Thursday show. No covers, all original. Actually got paid pretty well and did well by the fact that we weren't a cover band and actually were making it in Sarasota, which was exciting. So that was about 10 years that we performed with that group, and then it retired a couple years back. And then MeteorEYES started, and MeteorEYES was basically how I was trying to break away from one was I was a poet, and I had all my poetry books up on a platform, and basically I would just flip through them, and people would come up and read them in between sets, and it was really interesting. And so trying to split those two groups off. So Spontaneous Habit was my sensual. I had this Ella Fitzgerald Elvis mic that I would just like kind of caress when I sang, and then MeteorEYES, I wear a mask. I created this persona just wearing masks because we are masked in society of not being able to truly be who we are or be accepted in society, and it kind of represents people in the past that have not that have either been bullied or murdered or many things that we have to hide who we are. And the band MeteorEYES, all the lyrics are basically focused around Kelly and I, my partner, around our adventures and our struggles. So it's still a party vibe, but it still has very impactful lyrics that talk about the inequality in our government. And so.
Right. What does it do for you now, being up there playing music? What does it do for you? Does it help you emotionally? Does it inspire you just every time?
No, I love performing. I love performing live. I love writing. I do love recording. It's lots of fun. But I just love seeing the reactions from people in the crowd when they see us perform. We just played the Ringling Underground, the last one of the series they did at the museum, and it started raining. It was raining sideways, and there was still a huge crowd of people that were just dancing in the rain. Yeah. And one of my lyrics from a song, Splish Splash, is dancing in the rain. So you choose the colors, I'll choose your backdrop. Right. And so people were just looking out and seeing them sing the lyrics and dancing in the rain was just kind of one of those epic moments in your life where you're like, you know what, life is pretty good. Life is, as far as doing music, it's very fulfilling. It definitely soothes the soul. It's something that I've always been passionate about. So
very cool. Yeah, I know it's difficult because I know a few people who are in bands here in Sarasota, and it can be difficult sometimes finding those gigs because there are limited places and finding gigs that have PA systems you can use. And, there are a lot of challenges, and it's hard to find an audience because this demographic tends to go a little older than a lot of communities around the world. Yeah. How have you found it, though? Have you been able to connect with a good audience and good places to play?
I think because I've been doing it for 12 years in this town, I think through building up a reputation with Spontaneous Habit, a lot of people have followed into the MeteorEYES realm, and also David Curran is a drummer, and he has a really strong mark in Sarasota music scene because he was in Asthma Attack, and as I blank out on the other band, he's gonna smack me, but So both of us kind of have that strong tie to the music community that we've been involved for the past 10 years. So I felt that was easier to get people out because they just were like, oh, this is the new project, ooh. And it's really dancey, so I think a lot of the college students and the younger crowd that is here is really super excited about it, and they do come out and dance at the shows. And so we usually have a really good turnout at all our shows in Sarasota and Tampa, St. Pete, and then, yeah.
I mean, you've been doing this for 12 years here in the area, and I mean, I just moved back in 2004, I think, and then, but it wasn't until recently that I started getting out into the music scene more often. And I'm thrilled to see a lot of the bands that we've got going on, you know, and see this music scene growing. Do you see much change over the last decade or so that you've been involved with?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I've lived here since I started high school here. In Venice, but hung out in Sarasota all the time. They had a huge music scene, and then they had the noise ordinance that passed, and that seemed to create a huge issue with the music community. And a lot of musicians just up and left and went to Portland, California. But I think it's had its transitions. It's kind of come back and forth with coming back to life as far as the music scene and the venues. They've struggled because of the noise ordinance, I think, is really what. Unless they're grandfathered in, they always get harassed with sound ordinance. And, you know, there's all the condos around downtown, so it's really hard to find a sweet spot that you could play. We played at Esca, my first band, for forever. And every once in a while we'd get the cops called on us, but as far as venues from the last question, because I just remember what you asked, there aren't a lot of venues right now. I feel like there's some that have been surfacing. Really, what I do as far as booking shows for MeteorEYES, and even when Spontaneous Ebb was around, I create my own. Like, I'll just go to an establishment and say, hey, are you interested in doing something like this? It'll bring a large crowd to your space. And we'll have the PA, and, you know, you just tell them a set price to include bring in the PA. And as long as you have your own PA, you kind of have a little bit more standing ground on choices for a venue. But I feel like it's come a long ways over the past few years, because I think now Blue Owl just got remodeled, and they're doing some things. And the Floribian, I think, is a new space. Cock and Bull is still out there.
Yeah, there seems to be. I'm just excited about, you know, that there are so many bands now that I just love.
And there's still some that's
like we're getting our own even unique sound here, where it's just kind of all. I mean, all the bands have their own unique style and everything.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just kind of a nice flow. It's a good energy.
Yeah, there's some really cool bands that have actually been surfacing in the past, like just 6 months even.
Yeah.
There's a new group called Tosspot. That's kind of it's kind of soul, jazzy, fusion, funky. It's a lot of fun. They actually played the Harvey Milk Festival benefit show at the Shamrock, and they were amazing live and just really fun. So.
Speaking of which, we're going to move into there, because you kind of have fused your musical career with your activism into this Harvey Milk Festival. And so tell me about how that went about. You started it 3 years ago, I think, is what you said. 3 years ago,
yeah. After I did the Equal Civil Rights Rally, Arnold Schwarzenegger announced that Harvey Milk Day was going to be an official holiday in California. And so I said, I share the same birthday as Harvey Milk, May 22nd. And so after Cleve Jones being the inspiration of getting me to form this Equal Civil Rights Rally and really launch being more active in the community, I felt that it must have been a calling that Cleve Jones, Harvey Milk. So I just announced to everyone that I was going to put this festival together in like 3 weeks. The first year I had 3 weeks. It was my best friend Jen O'Connor. She's my straight ally. And a few other friends that helped with the volunteer stuff. So really it's just me and a bunch of my friends that threw the first Harvey Milk Festival, and we had about 2,500 people the first year. Wow. And it was held in Rosemary, so it was one of those, if you weren't in Rosemary for that, you weren't really going to be just wandering around the Rosemary district.
Right.
And then the second year it grew, we became a nonprofit. I registered us as a nonprofit, and Then we grew to a 501c3 just recently this year. And last year we continued in the Rosemary District. And then just recently this year we're now at 5 Points, which is the heart of downtown and is a huge accomplishment. And Turner Moore, our vice president, made that possible. He took care of doing all of that. So
Great. Yeah, I think I went to it last year. You had it at the Rosemary District, and you had the great different stages too. You had it split out like that. But I think moving into the right there in the middle of downtown is a great place to do it.
And we're actually
right
still
there.
having rotating stages. They're just going to be next to each other. So they'll be it's the Milk stage and the Moscone
Oh, good
to
idea.
honor
Good idea.
Mayor Moscone, who was actually also shot at the same time as Harvey Milk. So.
Oh. Now, this is probably a redundant question, but you can probably go a little deeper on it. What inspires you the most about Harvey Milk?
Well, I think he inspires me as well as many other people in the community because he was ahead of his time. He was not taking, I don't think this is going to be good for you running for office. He said, I'm going to be who I am, and stood up and was open about him being gay. And that was in the 70s. That's huge. Because no one in that time was saying, hey, by the way, I'm running for office and I'm gay. So, but he really, really was supportive of the whole community as a whole, but also created a safe haven for the gay community in San Francisco, and really cleaned up the neighborhood, and I think really made an impact just on the community of just being such a, get on the soapbox and start saying, hey, we're going to do this, and just being a true leader, just really just getting people inspired to be like, yeah, we shouldn't sit around and wait for people to tell us if it's going to turn out all right or if it's not. And I feel like we as a society have become complacent. We still have a lot of great activists, and I'm not saying that we don't, because we do. But I feel like we're complacent, and we just need to be a little bit more outraged of what's going on. And right now we're a 501c3, of course, but we inspire people to get more active and to organize their own events as far as rallies or setting initiatives to, or resolutions with the city. I know right now they're actually going to be passing the domestic partnership. They're actually in the process of trying to get it passed right now, Equality Florida and ACLU.
And so what would that mean?
That would allow partners who live in Sarasota County to be recognized by the city of Sarasota. Not necessarily a marriage license, but sort of, if that makes sense.
But sort of, but have those kind of rights.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Because I know that you're against the DOMA, the Defense of Marriage Act, as many people are and probably should be.
Yeah.
But, so I was wondering if there are many states that are creating their own laws to kind of usurp that and say, okay, federales, you want it that way, but we want to honor our citizens and say, you know what, you can be married, you can have the right to visit your partner in the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
or to share, share your life fully and completely.
Yeah. Well, Florida's kind of one of the straggler states that's kind of like, hey, we're over here. We'll be over here for a hot minute. But the DOMA, Defense of Marriage Act, was signed by Bill Clinton, which most people don't even realize, but Bill Clinton did sign that. And it defines marriage between a man and woman and overrides the state's individual right to govern the state. So even if there's a civil union or full equality marriage, just marriage, I wish that's really what it simply should just be. It shouldn't be like gay marriage or this marriage or that. It should just be like marriage. Or if they want to, they should just erase it all and say it's called a civil union for everyone. But they found issues with just having civil unions for people in the queer community because it doesn't. There's a lot of loopholes that they found, and it wasn't the same as far as the rights that a married couple got.
Sure.
So really, until DOMA gets repealed, the state really has no say as far as like an issue like myself of bringing my partner, even if we went to Boston and got married tomorrow. Well, whenever she can come back, but it wouldn't be recognized, and actually would cause issues because at immigration they would start questioning, and
Right.
they say that they don't really harass people now because Obama just had something passed for binational couples, but it's
Mm-hmm.
we're not married, so it's until I guess we do that. And
she's where?
She's in England.
She's in England. Okay. So she's stuck over there until they let her.
She's
come
just
back
waiting to come back. Yes.
Oh wow! So if you guys were able to be married, then she'd be able to be over here with you.
Well, that would be if DOMA was repealed. Right. So yeah.
Yeah.
Which
but
one?
Not until then.
Yeah, exactly.
That's sad.
But I still call her my wife.
That's good. That's
yes,
good.
Yes. And she has actually never made it to a Harvey Milk Festival due to the time restraints with work and financially being able to come over.
We got to repeal this thing by next year then.
I know. She needs to come to the next festival. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it's a good festival. You do a really good job with it.
Thank you.
I can't wait for this one. And I think I'm going to be installing my thing. I'm not sure.
Yes.
Labyrinth. Yes. Good.
Yes.
So yeah, the Labyrinth will be there. I was pretty sure. I was telling people, I think it's going to be installed. I'm not sure.
I know the last email, you're like, so was that a yes? I was like, oh, I thought this was a yes months ago, but yes. Yes.
Yeah, we communicate.
Yeah.
But getting back to the marriage thing, I remember talking not long ago, and I've been out to a few of the Occupy events out at 5 Points, and one guy just came in there just ranting and raving and hollering and how everyone's an idiot except him. And it turns out he goes to the same church my parents do. But he was having a real issue with gay people wanting to be married. And he was just like, why can't they get their own word? And there seems to be so much emphasis attached to this word.
It is.
Like, it's just a semantics. It's just a word. Why can't you get over it? Do you find that a lot? Obviously.
I do, and the biggest issue why we can't just say we want this instead is because there are people from the LGBTQ community that actually are religious and do want that type of wedding and ceremony. Me personally, I'm going to do a ham fasting in the woods and I'm good to go. I just need the paperwork. But we're not. It's about everyone, and the main focus is just to get equality, marriage equality in it, and doesn't need to have the term gay or anything in front. It just needs to be marriage. It's basically a business contract that the government or that the state recognizes, and now the federal government has gotten involved in, and is also up for vote, which is a very interesting thing of itself. But I definitely don't think that people should be voting on people's rights. I feel like, with the huge civil rights movement that we've had in this country, it did take quite a long time. But looking back at this, you see those people that were like, we're right. And you say, wow, they were really thought that they were right about this. Yeah. And still do, and I'm sure they've, and that's just their thing. But
well, you have that in every generation. You have people in every ideology. You have people who just really, really, really think they're right.
They're set in their
and
ways.
Now we can look back on a lot of ways that we thought we were right years ago when we thought the world was flat or whatever.
Exactly.
And look, and where we just dig our heels in. And I find the more when I find that I'm digging my heels in, then I need to stop and say, okay, wait a minute. If I'm really trying that hard to prove myself right, then I'm probably wrong somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
Not everybody.
If there's
gets
this
that.
many people that are arguing with me, maybe I should just take the time out to separate myself from the situation and think, does this really affect me? Because I really don't think me being able to be with the woman that I love affects anyone other than my friends and that are close to me and people in the community that have helped fight for this. So, yeah. Yeah,
and I mean, you talked before about the complacency in a lot of the activism that, we used to see it a lot where people would stand up for each other's rights, like the civil rights movement and whatnot, and on up to, I think, the last big uprising we had was the Vietnam War when the hippies went to fight against that. Of course, that crushed the hippies. And then we had the last one was the Occupy, kind of popped up a little bit, and you're starting to see people get involved. And it gives me a bit of hope that we're getting people involved a little bit more. Just to be able to speak out and say, you know what, this isn't right. This isn't what we founded this country on, and so let's change this.
Exactly, we're a country founded as basically a country that's built on immigration. Yet we're so we're too good for ourselves. Is pretty much we've outgrown our britches, kind of thing. It's like I don't know, but
it seems like you have so much energy by so many people in this country. That instead of fighting for rights, we're fighting to take people's rights away.
And funding it through, now the Prop 8 thing was funded through, the Mormon Church actually went to a lot of their followers and said, we need you to give us all of your money that you have saved up for your children in college.
Right.
And actually that's how they raised the money to fight the Prop 8 battle. And so, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of throwing money around when people are saying they don't have any money. And we're trying to get money, trying to defend our rights, while these people are just throwing money to try to keep us from having rights. It's kind of an interesting concept, considering that this is the economic crisis of the year 2012. And
yeah, well, nobody really has any money. It doesn't really
It's
exist.
all an illusion anyway. Exactly, it's an illusion.
So, no one really does have any. But,
exactly.
But it's fun to play with, and we've had some great power plays with it, and we've actually used it to build some cool stuff.
Yeah, it's true.
But I think we're also at a point where we are preparing very quickly to move on beyond that. You'll catch that in another show, a couple weeks down the line.
But I did want to say really quick just about the Occupy movement. I feel like the Occupy movement had a great passion and drive in the very beginning, and they were really focused. They kind of outgrew themselves because it spread so far, and I think the lack of people being aware of exactly what was going on. It was just so happened that most times there would be any interviews, it would be of someone that really didn't know what was going on, and so it kind of weakened the movement. So I feel like there just needs to be an uprise, just really, truly, of everyone stepping out and just as a whole and being supportive, and having, maybe they might not be focused or be aware of what's going on with this, but hey, I can answer this because this is how it affects me personally. And I think that's maybe another way that maybe the movement could have been stronger, was how does this, it's always the reporters asking the questions, of course, but they could always just send out like mass emails to everyone that's involved and do something like that, to where they're like, well, this is how it affects me actually, which is a little different. But.
Sure. Well, I think the Occupy movement was our first step of our 12-step program of just admitting we have a problem.
True. It's very true. And they did, and it was impactful. I mean, it really...
It was a huge impact. Huge impact. So I think it was did exactly what it needed to do. I've tried to support it here in Sarasota a little bit here and there. And we had some really good rallies where people came out and showed how much they care about this situation in our community and everything. But... it did what it needed to do. I don't think it's one of those things where I feel it's necessarily going to be of great benefit to go out and continue to complain about these kind of things without doing something more progressive ourselves.
Yeah. And
I think that's really what's going to make the difference, is when community members rise up and say, you know what, this is our country, this is our world, it's our city, our state. Let's create it the way we want to create it, instead of asking for permission from these guys in their suits.
Exactly. And I think that's the main thing that's been happening. A lot of the activism that's going on is more like shaking hands, meeting, which is important because that's how actually the process gets passed. Sure. But there needs to be, on the other side, everyone just kind of stepping up. And I did want to announce that at the downtown at the city... Why am I blanking out? Oh, because it's a few days from Harvey Milk Festival.
There you go. And that's what I want to find out. What are the dates of the Harvey Milk Festival?
The 10th, 11th, and 12th. The 10th is the Film Fest, which is Hit So Hard. It is about Patty Schemmel. It's a documentary from Hole. She was the drummer, and she had a near-death experience. It has never seen before footage of Kurt Cobain. Wow. And it was released at Southwest by Southwest, and this is the only other place that it has been shown other than New York and major cities across the U.S. So.
Wow. Yeah, I saw the trailer. It looks great.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. And then the 11th is the Silent Tea, the Quality Gallery, which is going to be held at Ivory Lounge from 5:30 to 10. And then the Music Festival, which is taking place, which will have art installations as well. That is from 4 to midnight. It's free. So we try to, as long as I'm involved, it'll always be free. That's our main focus, is to just inspire, to get everyone to come. Good. And if someone wants to learn more, or wants to come and share stories, which I've had great stories share with me about Harvey Milk, because Florida is kind of like this. It's brought all these people from all over, and they just stumble. I had this older gentleman that shared a bunk with Harvey Milk in the Navy, and he found me the first year, and he was like, "Here's my yearbook that Harvey Milk signed, and I just wanted to show you this." And it was just so he was definitely an older gentleman. He was just really sweet. He actually hunted me down to share that.
And then you go on Sunday as well?
Sunday,
Is it
nope.
Sunday? No.
Nope.
Just Saturday.
Sunday's my day.
Sunday's your day.
Sunday's day to recover.
So come out to the Harvey Milk Festival this weekend, and it's gonna be great. The Labyrinth from the Unbroken Path will be there.
Yes.
And thank you so much for coming out. And thank you for being different.
Thank you for having me on the show. It was a
You're
really
welcome.
great time. Thank
Glad
you.
you liked it.
Thank you.